Imagine every incoming call being answered instantly by a friendly, all-knowing assistant that remembers every past conversation. This is what we're in today. We're in for a real treat. We will build on top of the assistant we built in the last video. If you haven't seen that yet, check that out. That's what we're in today. We will equip the agent we built last time in the last video with memory, so every incoming call remembers past conversations. And I promise you, if you implement this, you will not regret it. Take my word for it. And yeah, as always, I've included all the tools and resources and templates down in the description below. So if you want to access them, just click the first link. And yeah, I'd say let's get started. As always, we start at make.com, create a new scenario, give it some name. We will just call it inbound memory. And we will start with a webhook. Custom webhook. Create a webhook, again call it inbound memory, and hit save. Go ahead and copy this URL to the clipboard, hit OK, hit save. Next you will go to Vapi AI, log in, and this is the dashboard you will see. Go to your company down here and hit settings. On the settings page you will scroll down a bit, and in the server URL frame you will paste the URL you just copied to your clipboard in this field here. Wait a second till it's saved automatically, and yeah, now you're good to go. Now in order to do phone calls on Vapi, you will have to buy a phone number. I've already covered this in the last video, and like I already said, if you haven't checked it out, definitely go and do so, because we're building on top of everything we did there. Yeah, go ahead and click on phone numbers. If you don't have a phone number yet, buy one for $2 a month if you are in US or Canada, and if you are not, then import one from Twilio or OneEdge. Doesn't really matter. But what does matter is that in the inbound settings you assign the phone number, but you do not assign an assistant, and also you do not assign a squad. This is important because we just pasted this URL in the settings, and if we select an assistant here, we will not be forwarded to this URL when somebody calls our company, but the call will be forwarded to the assistant or the squad, and this is what we don't want. So just leave this blank, and then we're good to go. Go back to make.com, and we have to trigger this module once, so hit run this module only, and now you will have to call your phone number. So just take out your phone and call the number to see that the message is received here. Now we can continue. Our next module is a Google Sheets module, and it will be a search rows module. The purpose of this module is that when we are getting called, the phone will trigger this webhook. And this is because we want to search our database or CRM. In this case, we have a Google Sheets, but in your case, it may be a CRM. Doesn't matter, you can just implement your CRM here. We want to search that database if we have an entry for the number which is calling us, so we can get all the personal info from that person. And this is why we use a search rows here. So go ahead, you have to connect your Google account first. I've already done that, so I'm good. I will use a demo CRM, which I'm gonna select in this field here with the sheet 1. We leave those settings as is, and we want to, like I already said, filter for a phone number. So the phone number is the unique key here, which is in best case scenario only once in the CRM. So we will hit this one and select phone. And now we want to insert this formula here. This formula is one very specific thing, which is it removes the plus from the phone number country code. So when we are getting called, the phone number which is transferred by the webhook to this automation is including the country code. So in my case, for example, it's +49. And if we search for this in the Google Sheets, we will never find an entry. That's because in the Google Sheets we have saved all the numbers without the plus, and if we would search for the number with the plus, we just wouldn't find an entry. So this is what this whole thing does. It just gets the phone number and it replaces the plus with an empty string. So remove this again. You can now hit OK to save this step. And I will use this gap to show the demo CRM to you. This is how it looks. So we have the first name, we have the last name, email, phone, company, website URL, short description of the business, and called yes or no. All of these fields are being transferred to us by the customer when they fill out the form. And all of these things are getting filled out by the AI after the first call. What we are filtering now for is this number, and as you can see, there's no plus here. So if we would search for a plus, we wouldn't find an entry, and we're just searching this column if the phone number, which is calling us at that specific moment, is in here somewhere. Back in make.com, we are gonna select another module, which is a router. The router gives us the option to select 2 different paths, and since we have 2 different scenarios that can happen, we will need this. The first scenario is that the number calling us has already been calling us before, and we have an entry in the CRM, and so we know who that person is. This would be route 1, and route 2 would be we don't know that number, so we can't personalize the messaging at this point in time. For the automation to know which way to go, we will have to set up a filter. We will go into the Google Sheets and copy this, press Ctrl A and Ctrl C, hit OK. And how we can change that up is we set it to equal to, paste this in here, equal to phone. Hit OK, and you can just remove this filter here and hit OK there. Next thing we are gonna set up is a response webhook. Click webhook, webhook response. And this is really important that you get right. What we are gonna paste in here is JSON code, JSON data. And the JSON data I will provide to you is correct, it will work, and there are a few things you are not allowed to change because it will break if you do. Just leave this as is and only edit the things I will show you in a second. Alright, this is how you will see it. This is the JSON code. So this module basically just transfers this JSON data back to Vapi, and we trigger the call, which in this case means we just pick up. So when this webhook is being executed, our call is being picked up. And this is what all this here is for. And there are a few things you will need to fill out, which is the phone number ID, the organization ID, and then we have 2 tool IDs down here. These enable the booking process, and you will find them from the tools we created in the last video. This is why having implemented the last video beforehand is important. If you want to use it without the tools, you can just go here and delete this part. This here is the system prompt. So this is telling the call AI what it should do, what it should act as. And important in this prompt is that there is no line break. If you have a line break, it will not work. So if, for example, if you hit enter here, now the assistant will not be able to trigger because of this line break. Just keep this the same. I had quite a few problems with this exact issue because we include the summary of the last call here and a short description of the business. And if there is a line break in either of those 2 variables here, then also the prompt will not work and the whole call will just not function. So what you will need to do is that in this variable here and this variable here, there is no line break, so the prompt will work. This is really important. Next up, we just have the provider of the LLM, which is OpenAI. We have the voice. We use this voice here. I will show you in a second which voice it is. You can use a different voice. You will just have to paste the voice ID into here. So just this here could be different for you. And also the first message can be personalized, as well as the end call message and the end phrases. But what you need to make sure is that you only edit inside of the quotation marks, and you do not edit either the quotation marks, any other signs here, like the brackets, for example. And you should also not edit the names of the different parameters, but you can edit inside of the quotation mark. And also again, down here, we have the phone number of the customer and then the name of the customer. You can also leave this as is. And with that, the first webhook is finished. We can just hit OK. And for finishing up, we will just add the second webhook. In this webhook, again, most of the things are same except the personalization, because since we do not have any personalized information from that person in our CRM, we cannot address them by that information. So down here, all the personalized info is missing. And also down here, we do not have the name of the person calling us. But again, since we don't have the information, we cannot use it. And now there are a few things you will still have to do in order for those 2 webhooks to work. First, click OK, hit save. Now, for both of those webhooks, we need to do the exact same steps. And bear with me here, they are not really complicated. You will have to get the phone number ID, you will have to go get the org ID, and you will have to get the tool IDs here if you want to use the tools in the call. And for that, we will go to our Vapi AI dashboard. The first thing we are gonna do is get the phone number ID, which is under phone numbers, obviously, and then right below the number, we have the phone number ID. Hit this icon here to copy and paste it in between those 2 quotation marks. And really make sure there's one of the quotation marks in the end and one of them in the front. The organization ID is in the settings where we implemented the webhook. It's this number here. Again, just copy it and paste it in here. Again, in the quotation marks, one in the front and one in the back. And for the tool IDs, since we want to use tools, those two tools are for booking. And obviously when somebody calls and wants to make an appointment, we want them to be able to schedule it right on the call. So we need those two tools, and we will go back to Vapi, go to tools, select the two tools you want to use. I want to use the inbound book slot and the inbound check availability. And for the inbound book slot, click here, copy and paste it in between the quotation marks. So one quotation mark in the front and one quotation mark in the back. And the same for the check availability, copy ID and paste right in between the two quotation marks. Again, scroll up to check if it worked out as intended, and indeed it did. And now you will just have to hit OK, save the first webhook. And now for the second webhook, we just have to put in the same information in here too. So the phone number ID, the organization ID, and the two tool IDs. For that, you can either go to this webhook here and just copy it from there, or if you're on Windows, this is really cool, you can hit Windows V and you have your copy and paste history right here. So you can just use this, which is way easier than going back and forth between the two webhooks. And now everything is in place. You can hit OK, save. And now when we call our assistant, we should be able to have a conversation. So let's try it out. Hit run once, wait for new data.
Hi there, Tim. I'm Sunny from AI Growth Agency. How can I assist you today?
Hi, Sunny. I was wondering what our last conversation was about.
Sure thing, Tim. Last time we spoke, we scheduled an appointment for you on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Is there anything else you'd like to go over or another appointment you'd like to set?
Yeah, just to confirm, do you remember what company I'm working at and when was our last call?
You're with Best Agency, and our last call was when we set up the appointment for this Wednesday at 1 p.m. If you need any more details or have any other questions, just let me know.
And yeah, that's the call. As you can see, I have asked her to confirm just the information in the CRM, just to show you that she's aware of that and everything worked as intended. And if you implement this the right way, exactly as I did here, it will work for you too. But now we have only tried out the top webhook, and we still need to try out the bottom webhook to see if it also works. So let's do that now. For that, go to the demo CRM. We can just change up the number here, because if we change up the number, then we will not be found by the search rows. Go back. For that again, you will need to hit run once, wait for new data, and then call.
Hi there. I'm Sunny from AI Growth Agency. How can I assist you today?
Hi Sunny, how are you? What is your purpose?
Hey, I'm doing great, thanks for asking. My purpose here is to help you either schedule a meeting with our appointment setter or take notes for Tim Cramley. How can I assist you today?
And yeah, that's it. That's the workflow when the call isn't personalized. And now just again for safety measure, hit save, go back. You can delete the queue if there's a queue for you. And to make this functional, you can turn it on. So when somebody actually calls your business, this will respond. And with that, you're all set. If you should encounter any errors or problems with this workflow during your build, you can either message me on LinkedIn or Instagram, or just write a comment down below. I will respond to every comment down here. If you want something like this tailored to your specific business, built by my team and myself, you can book an AI growth audit with the link in the description down below. And I'm always really happy to help. And if you got any value from this video, you can do me a favor and just leave a like. And if you want to have more videos like this, subscribe, leave a comment for any suggestions you might have. And with that, happy building and see you in the next one. Bye.